Yasu Malagedo. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. 1967, part 2. Where do I begin? Ladies and gentlemen, like I've mentioned before, I grew up in East York, and East York is one of the 6 suburbs of the great city of Toronto, which is in the province of Ontario, which is in the country known as Canada. And if you grew up in Toronto, like I did, chances are you grew up a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. And it is extremely frustrating being a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. It never ends. I'm a very impatient person. I'm an Aries. I'm extremely stubborn. As you can see through all the podcasts I've done, it shows. I have very little patience in my life. I'm getting older. It's getting worse and worse. Every little morsel I have left of my patience goes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Why? Because I'm a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. And that's what it means to be a Toronto Maple Leafs true fan, is to have all your patience go into this team that has not won a cup since 1967. I could have named the podcast just simply the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I want to remind people out there, it's been that long since the Toronto Maple Leafs have won a Stanley Cup. And it's been, which even feels like even more of an eternity, since the Leafs have gone into the playoffs and actually made it past the first round. The Leafs have fucked up so many times. So many chances blown. It's getting to be embarrassing. It really is. I'm just being honest with you. You can feel the frustration in my voice. We lost Saturday night, Game 6, in overtime, for the second time in a row. We came back from trailing behind, tied it up, went into the beautiful thing that is becoming the new Leaf curse, overtime, and we lost. Now, a lot of people say it was our defenseman's fault because he was blocking the goalie. A lot of people say it's just meant to be. A lot of people say a whole bunch of other shit. Is it our fault as fans? Is it our fault that we support this team for years and years and really nothing has come from it? We keep blaming the defensemen, and we blame the forwards, and we blame the goalies, and we blame the refs, and we blame the fucking Montreal Canadiens, who, let's be honest, we should have faced in the 1993 playoffs. But again, the refs fucked us over again. We didn't have a chance to go to the final. Instead, it was Wayne Gretzky and the Los Angeles Kings versus Montreal. And surprise, surprise, to all Leaf fans, Montreal won the Stanley Cup. Now let's really be honest with ourselves. That year, we were fucking awesome. And we should have won. We were gonna win. But again, this team is cursed. I don't know what it is. Is it because of Ballard? Is there a ghost that lingers from Maple Leaf Gardens, and when it somehow became Loblaws, it magically morphed itself and transferred through the walls and to the ACC, and it's cursed us there? I don't know. I have no idea. But what I do know is that for sure, the Leafs are winning tonight. Game 7. Let me repeat that. The Leafs are winning Game 7 against Montreal in the ACC in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We have come way too far to give up now. We have been through too much shit, too much agita, too many disappointments to give up now. We've had the series lead 3-1. We messed up. Overtime, they scored. We messed up again. Overtime, they scored. And now it's Monday afternoon. The time now is 1:22 p.m. Soon it'll be 7 o'clock, and the Leafs will play Game 7, and I guarantee you they will win. I truly believe this. There's no way that the Leafs are going to screw this up again. A lot of people say it was written like this. It was meant to happen. Game 7, Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Montreal Canadiens. They want to win at home. They know they fucked up in overtime. They know they fucked up again in overtime. But they are going to win tonight. Not because I believe it. Not because I want to believe it. Because it's meant to be. Ladies and gentlemen, we've gone through a lot of shit through the COVID-19, and we're still going through it. I'm looking at basketball games in the States, and they went from having literally nobody in the stands to the stands being packed. No one's wearing a mask. Some people are, okay, they're more busy whipping things at their players or the opposing players or whatever after a game. But at least they're there rooting for their team. And now I've been told that the Leafs are going to let people in and watch the game. I have a message for those people. You have to make as much noise as you can rooting for your beautiful Toronto Maple Leafs. You absolutely have to. You have to yell like nobody's watching, which is bullshit, because everybody will be watching. 7 o'clock hits Toronto, and there's going to be nobody on the streets. This is one of the biggest games that the Toronto Maple Leafs will face in a very long time, if not one of the biggest games in Toronto Maple Leaf history, for so many different reasons. Let me mention before, like I said, that the Kings took our spot in the 1993 NHL playoffs. They stole it. I love Gretzky. We all do. He is the great one. But we all know the great ones that year were the Leafs. And it was meant to happen. It really was. But somehow, the curse just continued. It continued into the thousands, the tens, and even in the 20s. It's still continuing. But that's in the past. As you can see, I've clearly let this go. Now, we have a chance to really go far into the playoffs. But we have to get over this hump. We have to get over this curse. Enough's enough. How much longer are we going to put up with this? Last year, obviously, COVID was affected us during the playoffs and during the regular season, shortened season, and somehow we lost to Columbus. How does that happen? We lost to Columbus, best of 5. Is Columbus a good team? Maybe. Is Columbus better than the Leafs? No. Why? Because they're just not. It's bad enough when we used to go to games. I can't remember the last time I went to a game. I can't remember the last time I was able to afford a Maple Leaf ticket. I believe the cheapest seat in the house now is $130. $130 to basically sit in the parking lot. I've mentioned this before in the first podcast I did about the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it's not right. I get it. You got to make money. It's a $1 billion franchise. Is the popcorn and the pop and the hot dogs really that good at the ACC? Not really. But it's worth seeing an original 6-team play. But they haven't won since 1967. I am cursed with that number. For some reason, it always comes up. 1967. This person was born 1967. This happened in 1967. I'm constantly reminded of that number. It will never go away. Never. And it's one of those things I'm just going to have to live with. But at the same time, I want every Leaf player, when they hit the ice tonight, to remember that number, 1967. It's been that long, and you guys have the power to take that number, shove it up Montreal's ass, and win. And prove to them that we are finally the better team. And there's a lot of people out there that already have given up in Toronto and said, you know what, it's over. It's meant to be. We're not meant to go far in the playoffs. The Toronto Maple Leafs are just this $1 billion franchise who just leech off their fans and don't really care about making it that far. If they make it to the first round, they get some extra money and that's it. I don't want to believe that. I really don't want to believe that. I want to believe that over the years, we have acquired so many great players. In the 2016-17 draft, we got Austin Matthews. We were lucky enough to get the first pick and not fuck it up this time and trade it away for some player I don't even remember. And we could have got Scott Niedermayer. That's a different story. And we also got Mitch Marner. And we also got William Nylander. 3 all-star players. Now Nylander, I believe he's gotten us, 4 goals in this series? First 4 games, a goal in each. You can't ask for more in a player. Nylander, we've been waiting forever for Nylander to be the player we need. He's more talkative on the bench, more talkative in the locker room, I'm told. You know, he's become a great player. And that's not to say that Mitch Marner and Matthews have not become great players. Matthews has scored a shit ton of goals for us. Obviously the leader in the league of goals. I mean, he's just doing phenomenal. Marner's a great player too. I love his enthusiasm, love his speed. They're both great players. They've been very quiet on the scoreboard this series. Completely quiet. A couple shots on net, some assists, I think. You know, what's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. We're playing in a league in the NHL where it's not that tough anymore. There's no Dino Ciccarellis. There's no Rob Proberts. There's no Claude Lemieux. I mean, there's a couple tough players here and there, but for the most part, it's a league, more speed and skill and all that. And the problem is Montreal is literally beating the shit out of us. In a lot of cases, they have way more hits than us. Marner, he's taking the hits. He's smiling his ass off, which I fucking love. But at the same time, he's not showing anything on the scoreboard. Marner, on the other hand, I don't see him as a tough player. Not physically, anyway. Again, he's not showing anything on the scoreboard, too. All I'm saying is this. I love both those guys. It's redemption time. Game 7 tonight. I want you guys to each score a goal. That's both you guys' goals tonight, is to each score a goal. I want to see a goal by Mitch Marner, and I want to see a goal by Austin Matthews. We're not going to lose tonight. But either way, we're going to have 2 goals on the scoreboard because of those 2 guys. Somebody's got to light a fire up their asses and say, hey, 1967. 1967. And Montreal is not getting away with this shit anymore. You guys got to step up and kick some ass. Plain and simple. Do it for John Tavares. Do it for Jake Muzzin, who I just found out is now out for the next 3 weeks. We're going to see you back. I guarantee it. And we're going to see John Tavares back. Fucking Perry. The only Perry I really had in my life at one point was Matthew Perry. And I'm not a big Friends fan. I got to be honest. I got nothing against the people there. They had some fucking reunion, whatever. And now I'm cursed with Perry. I every time I think of Perry, I think of, the dickhead here who literally took a knee to our captain and took him out. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I honestly feel that he didn't do it on purpose. I really do want to believe that. I've watched it over and over. I don't think he did it on purpose. I really don't. But at the same time, we're being too nice about this. How the fuck can we not take it personally? Now, afterwards, he, took his licks like a man, in the fight there. He had no choice to drop the gloves, He's in a position where if he doesn't do it, he's a pussy. And if he does do it, then, he's going to get his ass beat. So either way, you're screwed, okay? That's it. But how the fuck can you not take this personally? It's our captain. When you wear the C on the Leafs, that is a huge deal. When I did my podcast about Canada, I literally changed the Canadian anthem and put John Tavares in there because we just acquired him. And it was such a good feeling to have a good old Canadian boy who used to literally sleep in Toronto Maple Leaf sheets, to have him here and play for us, and later on, him become the captain. If that's not a Toronto Maple Leaf dream come true, I don't know what is. And John Tavares, sometimes, he's a little quiet on the ice. Sometimes he's the biggest player on there, But how the fuck do you take out our captain? And how do we lose the game after? That sucks, man. Like even Simmons during the intermission, who, again, Scarborough boy, I am so proud that he's on here because I've said for years that the Leafs need more tough players. If we had 3 people on this team like Simmons, if we had a guy on every line like Simmons, we would be unbeatable. I truly believe that. Like I said before, in this league where it's more about skill and speed, instead of toughness, we've lost that edge in the NHL. I really do believe that. But, we still need tough guys, like Simmons. And, I'm very proud that he's a Toronto Maple Leaf, But losing that first game was a huge blow. I mean, we should have won that game, if not for Tavares, like Simmons said, And it was on our ice, too, on top of that, So really think about that. You have this biggest, one of the biggest rivalries in sports, not even just in hockey, just in sports. This is like Israel-Palestine shit, okay? I really believe that. Maybe I'm going to get some shit for saying that later, but fuck it. I mean, that's the best comparison I can use here, okay? We lose on our own ice against a team that we all fucking hate. I mean, years ago in the 90s, I remember they wanted to be their own country. I don't know, they lost the boat by whatever that much. I know Montreal's a city, I get it, Quebec, whatever. I'm just saying it's all connected, okay? And now when you enter our contest, it'll ask you, do you want to, or excluded from Quebec, whatever, blah, 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 whatever. I'm just saying, you go to Montreal and you tell them you're from Toronto. Pray that they don't spit in your food, okay? Anyways, home ice, we lose. First game, we lose. Then we lose our captain. This poor guy's laying on the ice. The one guy tries to lift him up. He's all fucked up. You could tell, like, he was gone. If we were playing on Earth, Tavares was in Jupiter. I mean, he was gone. The blood is running down his face. And on top of that, we got a local paper here called the Toronto Sun. And, I was told years ago that it's basically a 4th grade level of reading, the Toronto Sun. And, they put that picture of him, out of it. Blood running down his face. And it says Captain Crunch. Now, let's be honest. The Toronto Sun, they're not going to be a genius to figure out this paper. I mean, it's basically, the Toronto Inquirer, at this point for many years. It's just a joke, It really is. I remember one time I was working at Coca-Cola, and it was the funniest thing. Like, one guy was reading the Toronto Sun, and the one guy comes over, and he says, "Oh, can I just see the paper for a second?" The one guy knows automatically. Shows him the Toronto Sunshine Girl, and the other guy looks, he says, "Thank you," and walks away. Now, the Toronto Sunshine Girl, it's a girl that they show in every paper. I think they do the same thing in New York or something. I mean, they have a page 4 girl or something like that. It's just, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, it's, it's not like you're, reading a version of watching the 60 Minutes, whatever, getting inside news and all this shit. It's just like nobody cares. You know what I mean? Nobody cares anymore. My mom was a Sunshine Girl. My uncle was a Sunshine Boy, actually. Yes, him and The Rock were Sunshine Boys. He didn't have a fanny pack. He did look like what was his name? Diego in the Johnny Depp movie Blow. Remember when he gets out of jail and then he has to go to Mexico, whatever, and visit him, and he's wearing like the white short shorts, and he looks like he's ready for the tennis club. Yeah, it was pretty funny. It's always funny with my uncle. I don't know, like, like with a mustache, like he looks like him, but then without a mustache, he looks like Andy Garcia. I don't know, very tanned. I don't know how he does it. But anyways, very, very low class to do that. And then Tobias, made a comment on that. Again, people say don't piss off the paper. I heard Don Cherry say that, because they'll get you back in the end. But I mean, how can you not say that? You know what I mean? And again, like what I'm trying to say is we're getting all these hits, in our hometown from people that should be representing us, from our home turf, or in this case, our home ice. And, it's a horrible way to start the series. It really is. And then we go into the next game, and we kicked some serious ass. We won 5-1. I was a little shocked in the sense where, I know the Leafs' potential. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I said this years ago. Once we got all our players, the last couple years, over time, that every game that Toronto plays, we should have at least 3 goals. I don't give a shit if we lose 10-3. We should have at least 3 goals, assuming that we have the majority of our players. We have that much skill. A lot of people have compared us to Pittsburgh in the sense where for years, our defense wasn't the best, but our forwards will win us the game. I agree with that. I really do. And game 2, that was clearly the case. We killed it. Absolutely killed it. Then game 3 happens. We win again. 2-1. Wasn't a big blowout like 5-1 like the last game, but we still won. We still played a great game. Which, by the way, I just want to say this, that Mr. Campbell, we have great goalies, okay, Campbell and Anderson. And I've always said this, and I will say it again. Every time the Leafs do well in the playoffs, we always have a great goalie. Even think about that time in 1993. Mr. Potvin. Felix the Cat. One of my favorite goalies of all time. One of my favorite Leafs of all time. These guys would go back and forth. So many saves. Him and the opposing team. He would even say that in some games he would lose up to 11 pounds. Would you have ever seen Felix Potvin? He can't afford to lose 11 pounds. But he did. And he would win. Then game 4 happens. We win. Campbell with the shutout. 4-0. Toronto Maple Leafs. We're up 3-1. How can we fuck this up? Then I'm thinking, Toronto, years ago. Not even years ago. What am I saying? The Raptors winning the championship. Then we lost Kawhi. He goes to the Clippers. I don't blame him for going to the Clippers. You do what you got to do. I get it. You want to be close to home. That's cool. I'm just happy you didn't go to the Lakers. I'm just being honest. And they lose to Denver. But they were also down 3-1. Are we seeing a pattern here with Toronto players? Anyways, game 5 happens. The Canadiens win. In overtime, 4-3. And we were down. We were losing by a couple goals. And then miraculously, Toronto comes back and ties it up, 3-3. And this was the problem with the Leafs for years. For the most part, they would give their all in the beginning and just, completely fuck up games, with leads, 2 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals, who knows? Now the roles are reversed. We start off slow, and those last 10 minutes, we can absolutely kick ass. We can get 2-3 goals in those last 10 minutes. It's a miracle. I don't know what happened, but I'm very thankful it finally did, especially in my lifetime. I like to see a cup, wouldn't you? Sure. But we end up losing 4-3 in overtime. Then game 6 happens. Deja vu. Or like in the early 90s with the Blue Jays winning. Deja blue. Seeing a pattern here with the early 90s of greatness with Toronto teams. But anyways, we lose again in overtime. 3-2. Once again, we were down, but we came back. And a lot of people, like I said before, are saying that Campbell should have been an easy save. But because of the screen from one of our players, he didn't see it. And then it's 3-2. Now it's 3-3. 3-3. Game 7. Which I have already done a podcast about. Game 7. Do or die. Shit or get off the pot. Win or you'll lose. It's that simple. I did pretty much nothing yesterday. Chilled out, watched some movies. You know why? Because I'm a Leaf fan. I got nothing else to do. I'm just waiting this shit out. I don't want to celebrate too early and worry about being fucked up the next day so I can't watch the game. Even today, I'm doing nothing. It's 1:48 p.m. and I'm just waiting a couple more hours, whatever, to watch the game. But I'll tell you what, I haven't grown this beard for nothing. I tell people, it's the playoffs. If you're a guy, you don't shave during the playoffs. You let it grow and grow and grow until you need to part the mustache just to eat a simple slice of pizza. Joe Thornton, perfect example. But he's been growing his beard for years. And it's awesome to have him on the team as well. That's a beautiful beard. Beautiful beard. He looks like Santa Claus all year long. And by golly, I like it. It's awesome. It brings us joy. Here's a man that's in his 40s. Here's a man that played when Wayne Gretzky played. Oh, we're haunted by that name today. But this is how much he loves playing hockey and how much I loved the fact that he came to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You think of all the players I just listed, and even more. Hyman, Riley, Anderson, who again is on the bench watching Campbell kick ass. So it's not even frustrating for Campbell to go through this shit, but Anderson as well. And shame on everybody out there for doubting Anderson all those years. Because I got news for you. He's the only reason why the Leafs were doing so well. Like he, was struggling for like a week or two or something. And everybody was just giving him shit. Like, fuck off. Shame on you. You know what I mean? Like, again, our defense was not the best. Let's really be honest. Our defense is not the best now. Okay? It's still better than what it was last year or even the year before. Okay? There's no, a way we're going to compare our defense to Paul Coffey or Ray Bork or whatever. But, it's still better than what it was, And shame on you guys for always coming down on the goalie. Really. I mean, he has been absolutely great for us. Terrific. And we have two awesome goalies. We got TJ Brody helping us out now. We got an awesome team. And just to see Montreal come back and tie up this series, I don't know about you guys, but I'm fucking pissed off. I'm extremely pissed off. They took out our captain. They took out Muzzin. You guys fucking think you're going to take this shit away from us? I don't think so. It's going to be a close game tonight. But my prediction tonight, it's going to be 4-3 Leafs. And when I say 4-3, I don't mean it's going to be in overtime. We're going to wrap this shit up way before 10 o'clock. Why? Because afterwards, the city of Toronto is going to party all night. We're going to party like we should have in 1993. And like I said, I believe 100%, belief 1,000% that the Leafs will win tonight. And we will advance to the next round. And we will beat Winnipeg. And more than likely, we will beat Colorado. And get ready. I have a good feeling we're probably going to face Boston in the finals. And that'll be a whole different podcast for a whole different day. But I want you to remember that video that the Leafs made in the early 90s with everybody singing. Potvin, Glenn Anderson, even the guy who Justin Bieber feels it's still cool to wear a jersey in a DJ Khaled video of 1993, Doug Gilmour. They were all singing. Leafs are the best, better than all the rest. To the East Coast, to the West, the Leafs are the best. Now, at the time, it was a very cheesy song. It still is. But are they wrong? No. Everybody out there tonight, this is what hockey night in Canada is made for. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to face the Montreal Canadiens in Game 7 in the playoffs. And we're going to win. We are absolutely going to win. I had the vision of 4-3 earlier. And for some reason, I'm seeing Matthews. I'm not Miss Cleo, okay? But these are the visions I'm having. Call me crazy because I'm a Leaf fan. Don't call me crazy because I think the Leafs are going to win. I know the Leafs are going to win. I want every single member of the Toronto Maple Leafs to hit that ice tonight and give it their all. And make sure that the fans, all the fans that are lucky enough to go in that ACC tonight, and I'm assuming each ticket is probably $1,200 at least, if not $5,000, to go in there and yell and scream and go fucking nuts. Don't be stupid. Don't throw water bottles like the Boston fans. Just go in there, have a good time, and yell your fucking ass off. And make sure that the Leafs hear you all the way to Montreal. You hear that, Perry? You, David Suzuki's kid, or nephew, or whatever the fuck you are, we're coming for you. I see that HC on your jerseys. You know what that stands for? Hockey cocksuckers. You guys aren't winning tonight. This is Toronto Maple Leafs year. Go, Leafs, go. 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 And after we win tonight, with the Montreal pussies having their heads down, leaving the ice, they're going to be the ones that are cursed with the number 1967. Part 2.